Pastors' social networks all overlap. Your work, your family and friends, and your church are all just one. You don't get a break. On top of that, you're always on. People are always looking at you as the pastor. You're always feeling the burden for your people. There's eternity on the line. And what can happen in the midst of all that is you become less and less of a person and more of a persona. Here's the thing. Pastors don't get a break. Even if you take a day off regularly, even every week, you still don't get a break. Breaks are built in naturally in the communities and interactions for most human beings, but pastors aren't like most human beings. The network of family and friends, church, and your vocation, your work, those three distinct spheres are usually pretty unrelated for most people. They don't overlap much. Research says people don't make friends at work and they don't hang out afterwards much anymore. Very few of your work friends, if you have any, go to your church. And very few of us work with family or attend church with family beyond our immediate family. So going to any one of those places, any one of those spheres, work, church, family, and friends, hanging out in those spaces provides a break from the others. You go to work and you don't see your family or your church folks. Go to church and you see a little bit of your family, but not most of it. You don't see your friends. You go hang out with your friends, you don't see church. Now in a small group, yeah, you have some friends and you grow deep, hopefully, but that's an exception. Most people get a break by going from network to network. Most people aren't pastors. And the challenge for us as pastors is that every one of those three groups overlaps almost completely. Your work is your church, is your family and friends. They're all together. Every Sunday, at least, if not in between, is Take Your Children to Work Day for pastors. And they get to see how your children behave, and they have opinions about it. They get to see how you interact. Your children get to see you working, and sometimes even valuing the people in your church, in their perception, more than them. This makes huge complications for us. Everything is overlapped. For pastors, it's not like the boundaries are fuzzy. They just literally don't exist. On top of that, not getting a break, that you're always at work all the time, the reality is that you're always on all the time. Pastors are on all the time. Volunteer leaders, ministry leaders, all of those folks, don't get me wrong, they work hard, thank God, for them and for what they're doing. But pastors face an unrelenting expectation and a heart burden for their people that doesn't end. It's on all the time. In fact, have you ever noticed that when Paul talks about all of the hardships he went through, the long list of emotional, physical, and other battles and challenges he faced in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, he ends, after talking about being beaten with rods, being shipwrecked, being all these things, right? What does he end with in that passage? He ends with this: and apart from other things, there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for all the churches. Check that out for yourself, 2 Corinthians 11, 24 through 28. Pastors think about and care about and feel the weight of the needs of their people, their flock, all the time. And the flock, generally speaking, doesn't hesitate to reach out to their pastor all the time. They'll text or DM or some other way contact the pastor. And that makes for a burden. It is a weight. It might be a joyful burden, a sacrifice of praise, as one of those songs goes, but it is still a weight that pastors carry. And it can leave you empty. You don't get a break. You're always on. You feel the burden for your people. It makes it hard to rest, hard to relax. I know one pastor who was a type A go-getter for decades, and when he finally had a chance to retire, in fact, he was going to come back to the church he was in, but he took a sabbatical first. A couple of months into that, he just hit a wall. He had absolutely no energy. He was depressed. And he went to his doctor and said, I don't know what's going on. The doctor said, I know what's going on. You have been going and going and going, living on adrenaline for decades, and now you don't have something, and you're on empty. For pastors, you're always working. You're always feeling the burden. Your work has eternal consequences. Sadly, you're often treated as a position more than a person. People look to you with unreasonable expectations. They view you as some super spiritual, super connected being, that God somehow listens to you more than anyone else. They'll think of you as a bottomless reservoir that can take in all of their needs and challenges, but yet have no needs and challenges and pressures of your own. You don't get a break. You're on all the time. It's not unusual to feel like you're running on empty. It's a really hard place to be. I've been there. You're not alone in that. Pastors experience life too. There is more than just your job. As important as it is a vocation. It is a job. It's not your identity. But when you feel like a walking job description, it's hard to maintain your identity. We read about Moses struggling with identity and losing, In fact, forfeiting the promised land, it went ill for Moses on their account. That's Psalm 106, 32 and 33. Back in Numbers, it relates this account to us in chapter 20. Life was happening to Moses. His sister Miriam has died. He's bearing the pressure, learned to delegate some, but still feels the pressure of leading this huge crowd. And now they're complaining again. I was just talking to a guy this morning who gave me this great picture. We can handle like one thing. And it happens to us most of the time. We're in our 30s, things are going well, and we're focused on one thing. But when we reach our 40s, we realize there's multiple fronts we're trying to fight this battle on. We've got family and work at least. But if you add something else into that, like maybe a child with special needs, like maybe a parent with health issues, or a spouse, or even yourself with health issues, you add in a death of a family member or a dear friend, or maybe even you just add in a transition, a move from one place to another, following God's call, life happens to you. And especially it seems like with guys in our 40s, when those things happen, we tend to lose it. Moses was much older than 40, so you don't just have to be 40, and he lost it. He was close to 120 years old, and life happened to him. Leading the people, they're grumbling and complaining. His sister has died. He loses his identity. Moses took the role of provider personally. His pastor persona overtook him. In the midst of the pressure of the people, in the midst of the pressure of leading them to the promised land, in the midst of the pressure of loss and grief of losing a sister, he forgot who he was. He forgot that it was his job that he was doing and not his identity. You see that in the way that he addresses the people, that Moses did not stay human, that he took on the privileges of God himself. The language Moses uses in Numbers 20, you rebels, shall we bring forth water from this rock for you? Moses, God said, speak to the rock, and it will pour forth water. Moses didn't do that. Moses took his staff and he hit that rock. And you know what happened? Water gushed forth. God met the needs of the people, even though Moses did not obey. Moses had gone to the Lord and prayed. He and Aaron went up to the Lord and prayed. He listened to the instructions of the Lord, got his staff, and went with Aaron to talk to the people. But when it came right down to it, in the heat of the moment, Moses forgot who he was, stopped listening to the Lord. God in his faithfulness still met the needs of the people. This is the danger. Listen to this. You can still be successful. In fact, you're probably going to be more successful on one level, numbers and programs, when you lose your identity. But it can't continue. And Moses learned that abruptly. God said, you're not going to go into the promised land because you did not uphold me as holy. And that's the essence of the matter, right? Are you upholding the Lord as holy? That even though your social networks overlap and work and family and church are all one thing, are you still working to maintain some boundaries? Are you guarding your children from people pleasing? Are you guarding your own heart from people pleasing? Are you spending time with your wife and your kids in a way that is meaningful to them? Are you taking breaks? Do you take a day off every week? Are you taking all of your vacation time and truly getting away? Or is your identity tied up in the success of your ministry or the pleasing of your people so that you can't really take a break? Are you maintaining your identity as the under shepherd, not the chief shepherd? Are you trusting the Lord? If you're not, you're going to find yourself getting angry. You're going to find yourself losing it. You're going to find yourself more and more judgmental. Outwardly and around you, it might look successful. The church might be growing, programs might be successful, whatever the thing is you're leading. At the same time, your heart might be shrinking. You're only human. You're not the God-man. In fact, the God-man, Jesus, took breaks. He got away. Mark chapter 1. They're all looking for him. People, Peter comes and says, Jesus, everyone's looking for you. What does Jesus say? Oh, I was praying. Let's go meet them. No, Jesus says, it's time to move on. There's an incredible amount of needs that people have. And it's great that you want to help meet them. And you have needs too, for rest, for relationships, for sleep. How do you get them though? How do you get a real break? If you're very worn down, a sabbatical is a great idea. If you're in a pretty good place, maybe plan for a sabbatical. If you're feeling the grind, ask your spouse, hey, am I taking enough time off? Ask your kids and your wife when you have some energy, how am I showing up for you guys? Where could I grow in spending time with you and loving you well? And then listen. If you need a sabbatical or you're looking at planning one down the road, these videos are the best argument. I wish I had them 20 years ago. Because a lot of times your elders will say, I don't get a break. I've got to go to work every week. I don't get a sabbatical? That's true. And I thank God for those faithful ruling elders those faithful lay leaders and ministry leaders, volunteers who don't get paid and do that on top of their regular work. Also, though, their regular work is outside of the church. Their day-to-day burden stays at the office. Maybe they bring some of it home. They don't live it 24/7 the way a pastor does. And if Moses can fail, and if Jesus needed breaks, brother, you do too.